Amazon has a knack for building dominant businesses from scratch, literally out of thin air. And they have a new business now in advertising, really only been around at scale for a few years, that is going to be doing about $20 billion in revenue by 2020, and that's a $100 billion cap business in terms of market value alone, and a business that is somewhat newly created. If you begin backing up in time in terms of these businesses that Amazon's created, AWS started in 2006. It's going to be about a $50 billion business by 2020, and our conversations internally on our team, in talking to our software team led by Tom Roderick and Brad Reback, they tell me this company as a public entity is $600 billion plus. We assign a $500 billion value to it as a component of Amazon's business. And then if you look at the oldest business, the retail business started in '94, which includes the components of Prime and logistics, the device business, Alexa, and often online retail. That's going to do $530 billion in GMV in 2020, and putting a 1.2 multiple on that, all aggregate, you get to a $1.25 trillion cap. As amazing as that sounds, we think that's a conservative assessment on a 12-month forward basis, and think there's levers within the model that could lead to even further upside.
Nothing that upsets the story potentially that you can see in the anywhere near future?
From a fundamental business standpoint, Amazon dominates in the categories that it serves its customers. It also has a great relationship with its customers, whether it's businesses on the web services side or consumers on the retail side. The only thing that we could see would be dramatic changes in regulatory landscape in the U.S. and or Europe, but it would surprise us if there's anything that meaningfully changes the business model, again, because of the close relationship that Amazon does have with its constituents.
Interesting. Jana Barton, it's one of your top holdings. You like this call, or is it a little too optimistic?
Well, the stock is up over 70% year to date, so it's done a lot of work. We've been holders of this name and an investor for many years, but I agree this is truly a sum of the parts story. It's a one-stop shop. I would add that it's also a content story. If you think about Amazon Prime, Whole Foods, there are a lot of things to like there, but again, it's done a lot of work for the portfolio in year to date.
Yeah, Joe, you're a holder of it as well.
I am.
And, relatively recent, last few months.
It's up 18% in this quarter, so for it to go up 30%, that's very reasonable. The question that I would have is, you're looking at the three businesses, and Scott, there's been many calls by the analyst community to split up these businesses to recognize more value. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I enjoy hearing your thoughts about that.
Well, thanks for the question, Joe. And I agree with you. I don't know if I agree or not either. But what's interesting with Amazon, and why some of the parts becomes more prevalent, is because these businesses truly could be pulled apart with very little friction. You create a long-term agreement with the retail business, and that's about all one has to do, and you have a totally separate business entity. What's interesting, and this is feeds off of work that our real estate team, led by John Guiney, has done in this area, is that Amazon already effectively has a headquarters in Northern Virginia for AWS, so it's going to be interesting to see how the HQ2 broadly plays out. But it's very easy to separate this business if Amazon chose to. Again, not suggesting that they should, but it also does drive that assessment of value based on a sum of the parts basis, because truly these could be businesses that could be pulled apart versus one requiring the other, which makes it more difficult to create isolated values of the entities.
Scott, sorry, this is Scott again. What I hear from you, though, is you're not saying that is a out of the question possibility, that Amazon may actually break up their company in some form or fashion into different businesses.
I don't have a strong view whether Amazon will or not, but it would be very easy to do.